Ever heard the saying, it's not what you know, but who you know? Well, someone forgot to tell that to my goldfish, Kevin. He's been networking with the same pebble for weeks now. Not much progress there, I'm afraid. Today, we're diving deep into the world of networking, but not just any networking. We're talking about the difference between rich connections and poor networks. It's a topic that's not only vital in the business world, but also plays a significant role in our personal lives. From the way we communicate, to the trust we build, to the values we share, it's all influenced by the quality of our networks. And in the upcoming segments, we're going to reveal the top 10 differences between rich connections and poor networks. We're talking about everything from the quality versus quantity debate to the importance of regular contact and genuine interest. So stick around, and let's see if we can't help Kevin out a bit, shall we? And hey, while you're here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, you think you're popular because your contact list is longer than a Star Wars movie marathon? Think again, my friend. Let's dive into the world of networking, where size isn't everything. You see, having a network that's as crowded as a subway at rush hour might seem impressive, but it's not about the sheer number of connections you have. It's about the quality of those connections. Picture this, you're at a party, and you're handing out your business card like candy on Halloween. Sure, you might make a lot of connections that night, but how many of those connections will remember you? How many will you remember? In contrast, imagine you're at the same party, but this time you focus on having meaningful conversations with a handful of people. These are the connections that will be rich and rewarding. These are the connections that will matter. So remember, it's not about collecting contacts like Pokemon cards. It's about building relationships. Ever had a friend who only calls when they need something? Yeah, that's a poor network connection right there. In the world of networking, relationships built on mutual benefit are what separate rich connections from poor networks. Imagine a scale. On one side, you have your needs, and on the other, you have what you can offer. If the scale tips too much to one side, it's a sign of a poor network. Now, this isn't about keeping score. It's about creating a balance where both parties feel valued and appreciated. It's about fostering a relationship where both parties are invested in each other's success. So if you're constantly giving and not receiving, or vice versa, it's time to reassess that connection. Remember, in a rich network, it's not just about what you can get, but also what you can give. So don't be that guy, okay? Networking is a two-way street. Remember when you thought LOL meant lots of love? Yeah, communication matters. It's the lifeblood of any relationship. And this holds especially true for rich connections. Clear, effective communication fosters understanding, breaks down barriers, and builds trust. It's like the golden bridge that connects two islands, enabling exchange and growth. Now consider poor networks. Often they are riddled with misunderstandings and miscommunications. Ever played the game Broken Telephone? That's what it's like. The message gets distorted as it passes through the chain. There's a lack of clarity, and this creates confusion, mistrust, and eventually, weak ties. Think about it. Would you entrust your big project to someone who can't clearly articulate their thoughts? Probably not. Communication is not just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and responding appropriately. It's about creating a dialogue, not a monologue. So brush up on those communication skills, folks. And no, LOL does not mean lots of love. You wouldn't lend your car to someone you just met at a bus stop, would you? No? Well, trust is key in networking too. When we talk about rich connections, trust plays a pivotal role. It's like the glue that holds these relationships together. You see, when people trust each other, they're more willing to share ideas, opportunities, and resources. They can rely on each other for support, advice, or a friendly ear. It's a two-way street paved with honesty and reliability. Now flip the coin and you'll find poor networks, where trust is as scarce as hen's teeth. In these networks, people are often hesitant to share valuable information or resources. They're always on their guard, wary of being taken advantage of. It's like walking on eggshells, and let's be real, nobody enjoys that. Trust isn't something that's built overnight. It requires time, consistency, and genuine interactions. So invest in building trust. It's a currency that can pay dividends in the form of strong, beneficial relationships. So be trustworthy, folks. Your network will thank you for it. Ever tried discussing Star Trek with a Star Wars fan? Yeah, shared values matter. You see, the power of shared values shouldn't be underestimated when building rich connections. It's like the secret sauce that binds a network together, making it stronger, more vibrant, and more meaningful. Imagine trying to build a relationship with someone who doesn't share your values or interests. It's like trying to mix oil and water. No matter how hard you try, they just don't blend. That's the difference between rich connections and poor networks. In a rich network, people are drawn together by shared values. They resonate with each other's ideas, ambitions, or even their favorite sci-fi series. It's these shared values that fuel engaging conversations, foster deeper understanding, and ultimately strengthen the bond between network members. In contrast, poor networks often lack this crucial ingredient. Interactions become superficial, interest wanes, and the connection weakens over time. So find your tribe, folks. It makes networking a whole lot easier. Remember your high school sweetheart? No, well, long-term relationships matter in networking too. In the world of rich connections, longevity is key. It's not about a quick handshake, exchange of business cards, and then adios, amigo. No, it's about building and maintaining relationships over time, fostering trust and mutual benefit. Compare that to poor networks. Often, these are characterized by short-term transactional relationships. It's like speed dating, but for business. There's a quick exchange, maybe a deal or two, and then it's on to the next one. But what happens when you need a favor or advice down the line? Who do you turn to? The answer is clear. Those who've been with you through thick and thin. Those who know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your terrible coffee addiction. They're the ones who'll be there for you. So don't be a networking Casanova, folks. Stick around for the long haul. Ever been to a potluck where someone didn't bring a dish? Yeah, reciprocity matters. Let's talk about how this principle plays out in rich connections. Now think of your network as a potluck. You can't just show up empty-handed and expect to feast. You need to bring something to the table. That may be your expertise, resources, or even your time and attention. In rich connections, there's a mutual exchange of value. It's like a well-balanced ecosystem where every creature contributes to the overall health of the environment. On the other hand, poor networks are like a one-sided potluck. Someone keeps hogging the macaroni salad without contributing anything. This creates imbalance and, eventually, resentment. Reciprocity is not about keeping score. It's about fostering a culture of give and take, where everyone feels valued and supported. So, next time you're networking, remember the potluck. Bring something to the table, folks. Your network will appreciate it. Ever had a conversation with someone who just couldn't stop looking at their phone? Yeah, genuine interest matters. Now let's dive into why this is so crucial when building rich connections. Imagine this. You're at a networking event. You strike up a conversation with someone, but they're constantly glancing at their phone, their watch, or the buffet table. Doesn't feel great, right? That's because they're not showing genuine interest. In contrast, rich connections thrive on curiosity, active listening, and engagement. It's not about nodding along while planning your next witty retort. It's about truly being present in the conversation, showing that you genuinely care about the other person's thoughts and experiences. In poor networks, people often mistake networking for a transaction, a simple exchange of business cards. But in rich connections, it's about building meaningful relationships, fueled by genuine interest in one another. So put down that phone and engage, folks. Your network will notice. Remember that friend who only calls on your birthday? Yeah, regular contact matters. The key difference between rich connections and poor networks often boils down to the frequency and regularity of interaction. Consider this. A rich connection is like a well-tended garden. It requires regular watering, some sunshine, and a bit of pruning now and then. You can't just plant the seeds and forget about them, expecting a beautiful bloom at the end of the season. Similarly, rich connections thrive on regular interactions. It's not about pestering someone every day with trivial updates. It's about sharing, engaging, and genuinely being interested in each other's lives. It's about showing up, not just when you need something, but because you value the relationship. On the flip side, poor networks often resemble that friend who only surfaces once a year. The interactions are sporadic, often driven by necessity rather than genuine interest. So don't be a once-a-year friend, folks. Keep in touch. Ever had a boss who didn't even know your name? Yeah, personal connection matters. We've all been there, haven't we? Stuck in a sea of faces, feeling more like a number than a person. That's the epitome of a poor network. It's impersonal, lacking in connection, and let's be honest, it's a bit soulless. Now, let's flip the coin and look at rich connections. They're all about personal connections, knowing someone's name, their interests, their strengths, their struggles. It's about more than just what they can do for you. It's about who they are as individuals. In a rich connection, you're not just another face in the crowd. You're a unique individual with your own set of skills and interests. You're a valued member of a network, not just a cog in the machine. This kind of personal connection fosters trust, mutual respect, and a sense of belonging. It makes you feel valued and appreciated. So make it personal, folks. Your network will feel it. Well, folks, that's all for today. And remember, networking is like a good cup of coffee. It's all about the quality, not the quantity. We've journeyed through the 10 key differences between rich connections and poor networks, and I hope they've sparked some thoughts. From understanding the importance of quality over quantity to recognizing the power of mutual benefit, communication, trust, shared values, and long-term relationships, we've seen how these elements can shape our networks. We've also explored the role of reciprocity, genuine interest, regular contact, and personal connections in building rich relationships. These principles aren't just for the business moguls or networking gurus. They're for you, me, and anyone who wants to cultivate meaningful relationships. So let's put them into practice. Let's build networks that are not merely transactional, but transformational. Thanks for watching, folks, and remember, like and subscribe, or Kevin the Goldfish will keep networking with that same pebble forever. You don't want that on your conscience, do you?